In the last few weeks and months, we've been blessed or cursed by a certain number of AI devices, hardware devices that have broken out and come into existence. And do we even need these things? What are they? Are they awful or awesome, or what do we know? Well, back when the iPhone came out in 2007, I think it was, we didn't know we needed something like that. We had mobile devices then, like Blackberries that could do emails and so on. So it wasn't that much of a stretch. But we now have, all these years later, we now have devices that we all carry around that replace an incredible number of electronics that we used to use separately. You know, camera, radio, phone, camcorder, compass, PC with internet. You know, a smartphone does all of those kind of things. We just carry it around in our pocket for those of us that use them. So these new AI devices are kind of a new paradigm. It's not something we've really seen before. Although, I should say, some of the apps on smartphones give similar functionality. So it's not really clear why we need the actual devices, the hardware devices. And when I'm talking about these things, I mean things like the Rabbit R1, which is a little orange box with the cute animated screen. Also the Humane AI pen, which is the one that got some bad press recently and everybody seems to be talking about it. So I guess there's that. And the other one would be, that I know of right now, is the Limitless pin or pendant. Each of these does something similar, but it's a new type of thing. It's the idea is, I guess, to make you, they either are supposed to supplant the phone or at least augment the smartphone. They try to help you with your day-to-day stuff. They can remember things for you. Some of them can do things for you, supposedly. A lot of this is largely unproven yet because we've only seen demos, and of course we all know demos can be complete BS. But the reviews are starting to come in, and some people are liking some of the devices and some not, obviously. The Rabbit R1 was one of the first of these little batch of devices to come around. It's a small, plastic-looking gadget, and I think the initial price is like $200. Pretty cheap. I mean, relatively speaking, considering even a semi-decent smartphone is, $200 or $300. It's supposed to allow you to schedule things, interact with public services. There's a bunch of stuff. It's quite interesting. The Humane pin is kind of a similar idea, but looks more like a Star Trek communication device. You touch it to interact with it. Again, it does not need a phone to work. It does need a subscription, and it has several gadgets attached to it. There's a camera, which the R1 also has. There is a laser projector, which seems to be a bit of a gimmick. These are neat ideas. You've got to give these people credit for having neat ideas, but the laser projector is supposed to project on the palm of your hand, so it can give you data and you can interact with it by making gestures and so on with your hand. It seems to be a little clunky of an interaction. The last one is the Limitless pendant, which sounds kind of appalling at first, but actually is sort of interesting. It's also pretty inexpensive, $99. There is a subscription with that too. There's a free tier you can use, but it's only $10 a month. It might be good to try it, I suppose. But what it does is just a little round pendant type thing that you can wear or clip on to your clothing. And it basically records everything, which sounds, like I said, sounds kind of terrible at first. But the idea is it sort of, if you like, paraphrases your life. Again, that sounds weird to me. I mean, it's with you all the time. It sort of paraphrases your life. It takes recordings of events and conversations and stuff. You can turn it off too if you have something private. But it records this, transcribes it, stores it, and then you can go back and ask it questions on it. So if you say, hey, remember I talked to Grandma last week? Who was the uncle that she mentioned that was so funny, and it'll go back and pull that answer up for you, stuff like that. The thing with these devices is, I mean, it sort of was a case with the smartphone that we didn't really know we needed that till we had it. And these devices are in that same sort of space right now. We don't really know if we need these things. I suspect in a few years we'll get used to having stuff like that. And of the three ones I mentioned, probably the Rabbit is interesting in that it's relatively inexpensive and supposedly fairly functional. The Humane pen appears to be beautifulgoing designed, but the implementation is not quite there yet, and that could certainly improve. These are running on software, and software, as you know, is going to be upgraded and tweaked and improved dramatically. The Limitless Pendant, to me, seems sort of the most interesting of the three, in a sense. I'm getting old. I am old. I'm not getting old. My memory's starting to go. I never had good memory anyway, and I can see myself maybe using something like that to go back and revisit stuff. I don't know. But anyway, I mean, right now, we have apps that do a lot of the stuff these things do as far as just searching for stuff and asking questions. I mean, we have Siri on the iPhone. We have Google Assistant on the Android. Siri's not great, but it's supposedly getting better. I use a couple of apps on my smartphone all the time, Perplexity.ai, which I've talked about before, and Pi.ai, which is kind of like probably what Siri should be. Here's a quick example. Hey, Pi, when did Walter Becker of Steely Dan pass away?
Walter Becker passed away on September 3rd, 2017, at the age of 67. He had been battling esophageal cancer, which unfortunately progressed rapidly despite treatment. His death was a significant loss for the music industry, and especially...
All right. So that's something I use a fair bit. But as far as a device you carry around, I don't know. I mean, we'll see. This is early days, so it's hard to tell where this stuff will go, but it is interesting, I have to say. Anyway, thanks for wasting time with me again, and check out the links below. Thank you.